Okay, next video. What is this?
Listen here, you shitty die, swear on me, mum, I'm a shank, you cunt.
You are watching Cold
7 million views for this.
Fusion TV.
Chat, listen, chat. Last video. Then we're done. Last video.
Check this video if you want. It's
Welcome to another Cold Fusion video.
No kappa.
Go here. Let me ask you a question. Who built this building? It's the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, currently the world's tallest building. Okay, not quite sure. What about this one? These are the Petronas Towers, 2 iconic skyscrapers in Malaysia. Well, as it turns out, Samsung built all of those skyscrapers.
Wait, what?
Sometimes when you look beneath the surface, fact is often stranger than fiction.
Wait, why? I'm confused.
The year is 1938, and the Western financial system was still recovering from one of the greatest crashes in history, and a second world war was about to break out. It wasn't such a rosy time, but regardless, in this year, a lesser-known man by the name of Lee Chul was about to change the course of history. He founded a little company called Samsung, a trading company that dealt with local groceries and had 40 employees. At the time, the company produced noodles, then expanded into sugar, and then wool. And by the late 1950s, the company had moved into insurance, securities, and retail.
That's
in the
fun.
late 1960s, Samsung moved into electronics, and the first ever product produced by Samsung Electronics was actually a 12-inch black and white TV in 1970. By
That's
1983, the first Samsung computer had arrived. This computer was a full 2 years ahead of Windows PCs. In the 90s, Samsung began to rise as an international force in many industries.
Is my new computer going to be outdated in 6 months?
Not with the new Samsung Note Master. Its unique CPU can be easily replaced, so you can keep updating and stop worrying.
The company went from strength to strength, becoming market leaders by learning the trades of various industries through persistence. In the end, they became one of the most versatile companies in world history. Today, many of us use Samsung products in our daily lives, from TVs to computers to smartwatches and digital cameras, to fridges and kitchenware, to the chips that run our mobile phones, to the actual phones themselves. While this diversity is very impressive for just one company,
why is Shaq saying nope? What do you mean nope? What are you doing? You buy Apple? Oh, you're so fucking cool with your Apple trash device, dude. Good luck, dude. Good luck next update when there is a new phone and your phone slows down until back into fucking Stone Age, you cucklord.
How big is Samsung? And what else are they involved in? Well, make yourself comfortable, guys, and get ready to be surprised. Samsung is much bigger than you think. In this video, we'll take a look at some of the awesome facts about the company, and then take a look at its mind-boggling size. Trust me, it gets pretty crazy. Like most of the stuff on this channel, this is the stuff you're not going to see anywhere else on YouTube. Let's get into it.
Okay.
Since 1993, Samsung Electronics has been the largest producer of memory chips in the world. In fact, the original iPhone and numerous other devices run on Samsung manufactured chips. In addition to this, in 2011, Samsung became the world's largest smartphone manufacturer.
Number 4.
In Korean, the word Samsung means 3 stars. The founder of Samsung Group wanted to indicate that the company was big, powerful, and numerous. The stars also stood for eternity. Have a look at this logo. Do you notice the opening on both ends of the ellipse where the letters S and G are located?
Yeah.
This is intended to illustrate the company's open-mindedness and desire to communicate with the world.
Okay.
Number 3.
Starting from 2006, Samsung remained the largest television manufacturer in the world. They are also the largest manufacturers of LCD panels, and today, 98% of the AMOLED screen market is dominated by Samsung. For those of you wondering, AMOLED is a type of screen that doesn't require a backlight like typical LCD screens.
Number 2.
The company spent $14 billion in research and development in just 2014 alone. Another interesting thing, the S at the end of the Galaxy S series stands for super smart.
Number 1.
Samsung has 490,000 employees. more employees than Apple, Google, and Microsoft combined.
Bonus.
In 1995, Samsung invested $2 million into the clothing brand Fubu, just as they were about to go under. Fubu has generated $6 billion in sales since. Okay, so those are some quick bite facts about the company, some pretty interesting stuff. But let's go a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole. Things get a lot crazier. So, just how big is Samsung? Well, in terms of money, the company made $305 billion in revenue in 2014. So is that good or not so good? We need a bit of a yardstick here. So how much was Apple's revenue in 2014?
Wait a minute, hold up. Wait, revenue 305? Wait, I'm confused. Total assets, equity, net. Does that mean net? Does that mean after expenses and shit? That's what came out of it?
In 2014.
Damn, so they had to invest 280 million worth of shit to get 300 billion back.
It was actually 183 billion. And what about Google? Only 66 billion. Well, that's not all. Samsung is 17% of Korea's entire GDP. So the question must be asked, how do they make such ridiculous amounts of money to dwarf even Google?
They print
Well, here's
it.
the secret. Samsung is actually made up of 80 different businesses and affiliates. These businesses are commercially and legally independent, but unified by sharing a single philosophy. Here are some of them. Under the category of engineering and construction, we have Samsung Engineering and Construction, Samsung Trading and Investment, and Samsung Heavy Industries. For electronics, we have Samsung Electronics, Samsung Electromechanics, TechWin, a military arm, Samsung Mobile Display, and Samsung Digital Imaging, to name a few. For finance, we have Samsung Life Insurance, Securities, Investment Trust Management, Venture Investment. There's also a chemical branch, Samsung Petrochemicals, Samsung BP Chemicals. There's actually plenty of others as well, like a marketing company called Cheryl Industries. Samsung also has a hotel and resort business, a medical center, Economic Research Institute, a foundation of culture, a life and welfare foundation. In a joint venture with Renault, the company also has been making cars for 20 years, and the list goes on and on and on. Okay, so it's starting to get a little bit crazy, but what are some other lesser known things about Samsung, and what else are they doing? Well, you are in for a treat. So we've already mentioned that Samsung builds skyscrapers, but what else? Well, under Samsung's branch, Samsung TechWin, the company also does surveillance, aeronautics, automations, and weapons technology. Some of the weapons technology that Samsung has made includes a South Korean military robot designed to replace human counterparts in the demilitarized zone at the South and North Korean border. And that's not all. Samsung has also made the K9, a full-fledged army tank. And if that wasn't enough, Samsung also makes jet engines. But let's turn things up a notch. As it turns out, Samsung Heavy Industries has the most efficient shipbuilding center in the entire world. It is over 400 million square feet in size. And these are some of the ships that Samsung have built over the years. As you can see by comparing them to a regular ship, these are absolute giants, colossal floating cities almost. And if that's not enough, Samsung runs the biggest theme park in Korea, complete with a zoo and various other crazy things. Samsung's size is so ridiculous that there's even a Samsung City. This city contains a few of the company's businesses.
Happy late birthday, Felix.
Some other cool things include their very own clothing line and a brand new research lab for drones, robotics, 3D printing, and virtual reality. The cool thing about this lab is it's actually going to be part of Samsung's mobile division, but it's going to operate independently, and it's going to build on the work that Samsung has done through their robot vacuum cleaners. And let's not forget virtual reality in general. The Gear VR was the first proper mobile virtual reality headset, and I just got it the other day and have been playing around with it, and it actually works pretty well. Okay, so we're reaching towards the end of the video, so maybe you're starting to get the picture now that Samsung does just more than TVs, fridges and phones. They do pretty much everything. In all my time of doing videos, I've never come across so many surprises in my research, and I'm not saying this to be a fanboy or anything like this, it's just a matter of looking at how many things they do. Who would have known that the same company that dominates the smartphone industry also makes jet engines and military equipment, builds some of the world's biggest ships, built the world's biggest skyscraper, has a medical research facility, a theme park, a finance institution, and the list goes on and on. It's said that every year, Samsung donates $100 million to its non-profit medical center, which consists of several hospitals and medical research facilities. So in conclusion, it would seem that Samsung is the kind of company that tries their hand at almost everything and chooses to observe and iterate until they get better and eventually become the market leaders. In all honesty, it is amazing how much of a dark horse this company is. I wouldn't be surprised if most people out there are only aware of Samsung electronics and their home appliances. It's amazing to think that all of this just started from one man with his small trading company dealing in groceries. So, if you have a Samsung phone, the next time you look at it, it might just seem a little bit different now that you know the true size of the company that
Yo,
made
what
it.
is Apple
Anyway,
Shill
this has been
Chat,
Together.
dude?
I want to thank you for watching, and if you want to see any other cool stuff on different companies or alternative science and technology news, definitely feel free to subscribe. Cheers guys, I'll see you again soon for the next
Guys,
video. Have a
but
good
what
one.
about Apple, dude? Chat, they're the leaders, dude, of taking garbage and put it like a dress over it and making it look good. Okay, and you fucking buy it every time, okay, dude? They sell you a fucking $1,000 piece of fucking metal, dude, and you buy it, okay? What are you on about? Okay.
Smile, smile, smile.
Same for Samsung. Okay. Guys, what year is this? Did Samsung Apple War did? Seriously, dude. This chat they did. Okay.
XQCL.
Samsung sells you a $900 bomb.
How was your day? XQCL.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean the
I
Note
hope you are
7?
having a good day, chat, and XQC less than
You mean the
3.
Note 7?
Imagine ruining your whole life over a fucking plant, lol.
Okay, dude.
Speaking of Connor, check this out.
Well, howdy, world. How the hell y'all doing, Mr. Cap?
Okay. Jeez, dude, we're probably not gonna watch that. Guys, it wasn't that bad, was it?
Ooga. Ooga.
Dude, there's no drama when you Google it. It was.
Speaking of Connor, check this. Hi, chat.
What about me the top one?
Rechargeable lithium-ion batteries are everywhere. Electronics, tablets, laptops, cars,
TTS
and
is
pretty much
probably
every single
disabled,
cell
but I
phone.
love you,
And most of the time, these
XQC.
lithium
Thanks,
batteries
Arjun.
are
No, it's fine, yeah.
incredibly safe, as long as the lithium fail-safes are in place.
Put your leg down right now.
Fail-safes
Put your
that
leg
work.
down right.
Samsung just voluntarily recalled an estimated 2 million Galaxy Note 7s as a safety precaution, since some of the batteries are exploding inside of the phone. Obviously, random explosions are not a feature that most people look for when purchasing a cell phone. So let's take a look at the Note 7 and assess why it might spontaneously combust.
Just show me the thing, dude.
First of
Why
all, you have
don't
the
you have
charging
bit
port is
pop-ups,
also
you
a fail-safe.
pepega?
It tries to do its best to protect the phone and the battery from faulty chargers and
My
incorrect
brother is a
electrical
cop
flow.
on this show.
But as a last resort, the battery also has its own fail-safe built in. Here's where the battery plugs into the motherboard to receive its juice and supply the phone power.
I mean,
Then
do
we
you
have
see
this
any, you
circuit
dumb
board,
dumb?
also called the protection
Thanks,
circuit
1000 bits
at the
to be
top
hard.
of the battery.
Thanks, 1000 bits
This
again, dude.
controls the flow
Thanks
of
so much, BB Hard. I appreciate you so much,
electricity
man.
and the temperature
Speed,
of the lithium.
momentum.
All lithium batteries should have a variation of this board. It makes sure that the battery does not overcharge, and it has a thermal fuse of sorts that will blow if the temperature gets too hot, thus protecting the lithium inside from rapid, unplanned, catastrophic disassembly. The body of the battery is typically 2 layers,
I don't wanna see it
the
explode,
anode and
dude.
the cathode,
Hi,
which are
XQC,
separated by an electrically
XQCL.
conducting fluid. This is oily and smells surprisingly of burnt Skittles. The combination of these elements allow your phone to charge and function as long as the
Scuffed.
battery protection
I want
circuitry
refund.
is
I
working
wasted
correctly,
5k bits.
and the electricity and the
BB Hard,
temperature of the
I'm sorry,
lithium
dude.
are regulated.
It was
If
backed up a
is
little
not
bit.
regulated
XQCL.
correctly during charging, the lithium will react violently. So if we look at one of the exploded phones, we can see which of
Feels
the
good,
fail-safes is failing at being safe. The charging port sits here inside of the phone, and there are no burn marks near the port, or where the port connects to the motherboard. But we do see some scorching where the battery sits. Not where it plugs into the main board, which would be about here, but it explodes in the center of the battery, around the battery hole in the thick aluminum midframe. So on this particular exploded Note 7, all of the connections are good, just the battery itself isn't behaving. Tesla cars are also powered by lithium batteries. The Model S had a small issue at the beginning of production where the batteries on the undercarriage could get punctured by debris on the road, which could cause the lithium battery under the car to explode. Tesla corrected this problem by adding a titanium puncture-proof underplate to the Model S. But the Note 7 batteries are definitely not being punctured internally, since there is nothing to poke them on the inside, as you can see from my teardown video. It sits on smooth aluminum. So since the Note 7 battery isn't being punctured, that narrows us down to overcharging, shorting, or impurities in the battery itself. A small metal impurity in the lithium could short it out. Personally, I think the problem has to do with the little circuit board.
Boy, that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
From what I have read about the people who have complained publicly about their Note 7 exploding, is that the phone was charging when it happened. The phone starts charging, and the tiny regulator doesn't do its job.
Then the what?
The battery
and if you poke it, it fucking catches on fire.
Runaway, and the voltage regulator can't stop the chain reaction. Since this particular Note 7 battery isn't plugged into the phone right now, my tweezers are acting as the other possible failure point. A metal impurity in the manufacturing of the battery. That could possibly short out the battery. All of this smoke and fire would be under extreme pressure locked inside of your watertight Note 7. The more pressure there is, the bigger the explosion. Remember that this only happens in a very small number of devices. So far it's only happened on 35 phones out of 2 million. So yeah, definitely take advantage of the recall. But also feel free to use your phone as normal in the meantime. Just don't set it on your lap while it's plugged into the wall. And maybe take a fire extinguisher with you to bed, just in case.
What the fuck?
My Instagram followers saw the results of this combustion before the video was posted to YouTube, so follow me there if you want to stay updated on my future projects. Subscribing to my YouTube channel is always free. I review tech.
Imagine living in the EU, omega lol. Bunch of third world.
Okay, you done? You done with that? Are we good?